I will never forget, a few years ago I was dating a guy and it was in the middle of winter and we needed to light a fire. So we asked him if he would help, and he ended up going and getting a whole bunch of big old logs, stacking them up, and then got a Bic lighter out and held it under the edge of one of the logs. And we all waited, thinking he was joking, hoping he was joking. Unfortunately, he was not. And unfortunately, that relationship had to end. There were other factors involved, but I cannot even express to you the importance of learning how to light a fire multiple ways and teaching your sons and your daughters also how to light fires. So I'm gonna just talk through one of those ways in the next few minutes. Will you stay with us as we learn how to light a fire using a ferro rod? Don't go away. Now, to start a fire this way, you're going to want a couple of things. The first thing I always like having on hand is a good pair of gloves. So I'll get mine on. And the next thing you're going to want is probably going to be a good pocket knife. Now, the favorite one that I've been working with lately is this little Opnel carbon steel knife that has a really good edge on it for scraping. And you want something that has that edge that's perfect. The back side of the knife, not the blade, but the back side of it, that's what we're going to scrape on to make the sparks. And then you're going to want a good quality ferro rod. This one is, incidentally, this brand. I'm not sure exactly how to even pronounce that, Uberleben or something like that. But this is a great, good size ferro rod that I can hold easily in my hand. Remember that. Also, it's a very thick ferro rod, so it's got lots and lots of strikes. So it gives plenty of chances for those of us who take several tries before we get it just right. This is the kind you want, not those little tiny cheap ones that might look cute or have spicy colors on them, but a small price tag. Pay for quality and you're going to be thankful for when this strikes easily on the first and second try. Keep in mind that whenever you buy a brand new ferro rod, whether it's cheap or expensive, almost always they're going to have it sent to you with a coating on it that's all going to need scraped off before it's really effective at lighting. So if those first couple of strikes don't catch, that's just because it's got that black coating on it to protect it in shipping. What you need to do is just take the time and get it all scraped off, and you're going to have some really good sparks come. Whenever you order a ferro rod, they're almost always going to come with a little metal striker like this one, which can come in handy. However, it is just extra packing weight. And so if you have a pocket knife on you with a nice flat edge on the back, I would just say get rid of this just so you have it even lighter when you're packing just the ferro rod. We're not going to go into the ins and outs of how to make a fire in intricate detail this time, but I will say you always need to have some preparation go into it ahead of time if you want it to be successful. And you always need some sort of air underneath. That airflow is really important. So I'm going to start with just a couple of little pieces of fat wood here, and then start with the smallest, driest tinder that I've got. All right, so I'm just putting some in here. My dad loves to start fires with these yellow pine needles when they're dry because they just light right up. And then we're going to put some small, tiny little twigs, the smallest we can find, up on top of that so that they're ready to catch fire as soon as we've got something going. So I've got airflow underneath. I've made myself what we call like a little bird's nest almost of the driest and tiniest tinder that I can get my hands on. And I've got even more standing by, so the minute that a spark hits, I'm able to quickly reach for the driest, tiniest little tinder to add to it and then build out from there. So the next size up from this would be about pencil size, and then the size of my little finger, and then the size of my thumb, and you just work up from there until you have a nice roaring and very hot fire. So let's give it a spark with this and see how it goes. Now, a lot of folks like to do it different ways, but the way I prefer is to take the ferro rod and hold it pretty steady in my left hand, then take my knife in my right hand, and of course I'm going to use the back of the knife, not the blade, but I want a knife with a good strong and straight back edge that's good for scraping this down. Then I'm going to get it right up here next to the bird's nest and give it some good sparks, and be patient with myself because it often won't light on the first or second or even third try for me, and that's okay. I just don't want to be with my hands shaking all around, and if I do feel shaky or if I'm really cold, just go ahead and rest the ferro rod right down on something that's sturdy and steady for you so that it holds it in one place, you know, while you're trying to light the little nest. But let's go ahead and give this a few sparks and just see how well it does. Okay, there, third or fourth. And then I'm going to take a few of these and get them in there with it. They love those dry pine needles. Okay, and now time for a few of these little bit bigger ones. You can see I've got it the size of my thumb now. We're working up. If you have big, bulky, and wet pieces of firewood, just tuck them here along the outside of the fire, and as it burns in the middle, it's going to heat and slowly dry those pieces out, and they will eventually catch fire too. All right, so there you've got it. Literally that started in maybe 3, maybe 4 strikes. That's why you can tell that a ferro rod is one of my top 3 choices for knowing how to start fire. In fact, I recommend everyone know at least 5 ways to start fire, but master no less than 3 ways to start a fire in any kind of an emergency. My favorite choices are a good quality Bic lighter. Secondly would be waterproof matches. And then third would be a good ferro rod that I can count on. Even if it's raining, a ferro rod, a good one, is going to light and have a very hot fire. Ferro rods definitely vary in cool to very, very extreme heat, based mostly on price and what they're made of. So kind of do a little bit of research before you jump and buy one. Okay, now it's your turn. I hope you'll take the time this week, no matter what the weather, to go out into your backyard and practice making a fire with the 3 to 5 ways that you plan to know, like the back of your hand, how to make a fire in any situation. And sometimes it's easier if you're teaching someone else, so drag someone else along with you to kind of have a good bit of laughter going on as you both learn the pros and cons of any different way to make it. All right, now it's your turn. Go out and practice, go out and be a blessing to someone this week, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, and God bless you. Before you go, I would love to share with you this quick word out of the book of John in the Holy Bible. It's in chapter 8 and it's verse 12. It says this, and this is quoting Jesus. It says, "Again Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever believes in me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Now go spread that light.